Okay everyone, welcome to our second video on changing the subject. Someone asked me, why is changing the subject actually important? Why are we bothering just moving these letters around for no reason? And that's a difficult question, really. It's useful if you know one of the things. For example, in this one, say we wanted to find out what Q was and we knew what X was. So if we know what X was, but we got the subject here, but we want to find out Q, we need to make Q the subject, then plug in the value for X, then we can find out Q. It's also useful if you're doing things like you're working on speed or you're doing any engineering work where you know one variable and you're looking for another one to find out what your output or something like that might be. So that's why we do it. But yeah, you probably just want to pass your maths exam. If you've seen our first video on changing the subject, or if you haven't seen that, I'd recommend you watch it now. But we're just going to do a few more examples about changing the subject. So here, X is the subject. That's what we mean by the subject. It's on its own, just hanging out here, and it's X equals. And it's 1 times X. We don't need anything in front of it. It's just out on its own. And we want to make Q the subject. That's what we're trying to do here. So we want to get rid of this 5, and we want to get this times by 5, and we want to get rid of this minus 3. So what we do first is we get rid of this minus 3. So what we do is we plus both sides by 3, 3 being the opposite, plus 3 being the opposite of minus 3, right? We plus 3 from both sides. So that gives us X plus 3 equals 5Q. Now I think these colors are useful, but you can tell me in the comments if you think they're useful or not, or they're just wasting your time. Just do all in one color, Ethan. Alright. So X plus 3 equals 5Q. And then all we do is we've got 5 multiplied by Q here, and the opposite of multiply is divide, so we divide both sides. It's in red, don't want it in red. Divide both sides by 5. Okay, so that gives us X plus 3 divided by over 5 equals, and then we've got Q here on its own, and we've made Q the subject, and that's great. That's what we wanted to do. Right, so that's correct. Well done. Alright, here we have another example. We have T equals the square root of M plus 7. T equals the square root of M plus 7. So, like the last one, we get rid of this plus 7 over here. So, we minus being the opposite of plus, minus both sides by 7. So that will give us T minus 7 equals the square root of M. And now, how do we get rid of this square root? Well, the square root, the opposite of that, is square. So we square both sides. Now, what we have to do to this side is put it in brackets, because we're squaring the whole thing. So, we're squaring both sides. I'm not going to bother changing the color. So, then we get T minus 7 in brackets, and then we get that squared. Alright, and then that will leave us on its own. That will leave us with M on its own. We've made M all on its own over here, and that's what we wanted. Okay, so that's correct. Alright, we've got another example here. Y equals O to the power of 3 divided by 7. So how we do this? It's divided by 7. So first, what we do? It's the opposite of divide. It's multiply, isn't it? So we multiply by 7 both sides. So that gives us 7 y. So 7y. Okay. Equals O cubed, or to the power of 3. Alright, we've got our 7y here. Now, how do we get rid of this cubed? Well, we cube root it. Okay, that is the opposite of cubing. So cube rooting, like this, but with a 3 on it. So we cube root both sides. So that will give us 7y cube rooted equals O. Alright, and then we've done it. We've got O on its own, on its Larry over here, and that's what we wanted. Alright, next video will give you more examples on changing the subject. Thanks very much for joining. Alright.